We're opening up the trader's playbook to look at something that's honestly as intense as it is fascinating, and that's 1-minute scalping. You know, if you've ever stared at a financial chart, just watching those rapid-fire second-by-second price fluctuations and kind of wondered to yourself, how on earth does anyone make sense of that chaos, let alone actually profit from it? Well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the pure mechanics of this high-speed environment, step by step. We've got a super packed roadmap for this one. We'll start with scalping basics, hit the golden hour, go over the exact indicator setup, walk through the buy and sell rules, and finally wrap up with risk management. Alright, kicking things off with Section 1, Scalping Basics. So stripping away all the heavy financial jargon, scalping is really just a high-speed trading strategy. You're targeting tiny profits. We're talking maybe 5 to 10 pips from these micro price movements. And a pip, for those newer to the space, is just that tiny unit of measurement for a price change. Think of it less like a traditional investment and, honestly, a lot more like a retail store trying to flip its inventory as fast as humanly possible. You're absolutely not trying to ride some massive month-long trend here. You're basically taking a quick, tiny bite out of the market and stepping right back out, usually within just seconds or maybe a few minutes. To really set the stage here, compare scalping to traditional day or swing trading. Those guys are looking at the bigger picture, right? Holding positions for hours, maybe even days, just trying to catch those large, sweeping market trends. Scalping, completely different beast. It relies heavily on extreme frequency and tiny gains. It's kind of the difference between pacing yourself for a long marathon versus sprinting a 100-meter dash over and over and over again. It demands serious speed, intense focus, and zero hesitation. But here's the secret sauce. You can't just run that sprint at any random time of the day. Which brings us to Section 2, the golden hour. Even though global markets run around the clock, there's a highly specific window you need to care about, and that's the London and New York overlap. That happens from 12 o'clock to 1600 GMT. Now, why does this particular 4-hour window matter so much if you're a scalper? Well, it's because this is when the absolute peak liquidity of the entire global market hits. You've got European and North American institutional traders all firing on all cylinders at the exact same time. This massive surge in volume stabilizes the market, and crucially, it tightens the spreads. That means it literally costs you less money to enter and exit your trades. So if you want those clean, rapid price movements that a 1-minute strategy demands, this overlap right here, this is your playing field. Okay, moving right along to Section 3, Indicator Setup. Now, what's really interesting about this setup is the intentional simplicity. We want to avoid getting completely overwhelmed by data. So it's really just 3 steps. First up, we're going to add a 50-period exponential moving average, or EMA, right onto your 1-minute chart. Step 2, add a 100-period EMA. These 2 lines are basically going to act as your dynamic trend lines. And finally, Step 3, throw the stochastic oscillator onto the bottom of your screen and make sure to adjust its settings to 5, 3, and 3. And honestly guys, that's it, the whole shebang. No insanely cluttered charts, no contradictory signals lighting up your screen like some crazy pinball machine. Just a super clean, highly effective visual workspace. So why these specific tools? Well, the 50 and 100 EMAs are there to pinpoint your immediate trend direction. By smoothing out the price data, they basically act as a filter against all that random, erratic noise you get on a chaotic 1-minute chart. Meanwhile, the stochastic oscillator is your precise timing mechanism. It tells you when the market is temporarily exhausted. So it's considered overbought when the line crosses above that ED level, and oversold when it drops down below 20. Basically, the EMAs are giving you the direction, and the stochastic is giving you the actual trigger. Alright, Section 4, Buy and Sell Rules. This is the absolute core of the playbook. Let's start by looking at the long entry scenario. This is exactly when you should execute a buy order. You absolutely need these specific chart conditions to line up perfectly before your finger even gets close to clicking that mouse button. Okay, here is your strict mental checklist. Seriously, do not enter a trade unless all 3 of these conditions are met. Condition 1, that 50 EMA must be explicitly above the 100 EMA. That confirms our microtrend is actually moving upwards. Condition 2, the price needs to pull back near those EMAs. Think about it. If you're watching a currency pair rising, you don't want to buy right at the absolute peak, right? You wait for the price to take a quick little dip, kind of catching its breath near those EMA lines. And finally, Condition 3, the stochastic indicator has to be below 20, which means the asset is temporarily oversold, and then it needs to visibly cross back up. So, for example, if you see the price dip down to the 50 EMA, and right at that exact moment, your stochastic hooks upward from, say, the 15 level, boom, that is your high probability trigger to hit buy. Now, let's move to and see how this builds into the exact opposite setup, the short entry scenario, where we look at exactly when to execute a sell order. This sell checklist is perfectly symmetrical to the buy one. Condition 1, the 50 EMA is now below the 100 EMA, which confirms a downward microtrend. Condition 2, the price rallies a bit, pulling back up near those EMAs. Condition 3, the stochastic is above 80, meaning it's overbought, and it crosses down. Let's picture it for a second. The market's dropping, but suddenly it spikes up just enough to touch that 100 EMA line. You glance down at your stochastic and it's sitting right at 85 before sharply crossing downwards. That right there, that's your textbook signal to sell. And remember, if the conditions aren't perfect, you just sit on your hands and wait for the next setup. Okay, wrapping things up with Section 5, Risk Management. So the crucial point we really need to highlight here is this number, 78.48%. That is the percentage of retail investor accounts that actually lose money when trading these complex instruments, according to data from major brokers. Let that sink in for a second. Over 78%. Scalping is incredibly fast, and if you don't have a totally flawless defense, a quick string of bad trades can literally drain an account in just a matter of minutes. We are talking about an extreme risk environment here. To even survive the 1-minute chart, you absolutely must internalize these defense rules. First off, your stop loss has to be tight, like just 5 to 10 pips away, usually tucked safely just above or below the most recent swing highs or lows. Second, you're targeting quick 5 to 10 pip profits. Please do not get greedy here. Don't hold on hoping for some massive windfall, just take your profit and get out. And third, the absolute non-negotiable golden rule. Never ever trade without a predefined stop loss. On a 1-minute time frame, a sudden news spike can move the market completely against you before your human reflexes can even react to click close. That automated stop loss, that is literally your only armor. This whole playbook demands a really specific mindset. As our source material points out, success requires treating scalping as a serious profession, not a get-rich-quick scheme. This isn't a video game, guys, and it definitely isn't gambling. It requires immense psychological discipline. You need the ability to take small losses without getting emotional about it, and the unbreakable focus to stick rigidly to your system without overtrading. Which really leaves us with one final thought to chew on for today. Are you truly ready to face the intense pressure of the 1-minute chart? It's a genuinely thrilling, highly systematic way to trade, for sure, but it demands total, unwavering dedication to your rules. Thank you so much for exploring this trader's playbook with me today on The Explainer. Until next time, respect those stop losses, keep learning, and stay focused.